Well, good morning and welcome to California New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling and I'm glad you're here with us today. It's going to be a great day. I've got an incredible guest. As a matter of fact, come on in and we'll go ahead and get started.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Angie. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
For all of you who don't know, this is Dr. Reverend Angelo Pizelo he's the president and founding member of the Emerson Theological Institute. He's the senior minister at the Positive Living Center up in Oakhurst. He is my personal friend and mentor, and I'm really glad to have you back. We had you here about 6 months ago. We had some great conversation about the Emerson Institute, and I want to pretty much just take off right where we left off. I want to talk about, first off, what I'd like to start with, the Emerson Theological Institute. Amongst other things, is the theological training facility for the ANTON, the Affiliated New Thought Network organization. But it's more than that. It also provides access for people that are ministers from other philosophies, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And it provides for people that are not associated with any particular organization, access to spiritual teaching and New Thought philosophy. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, when we started over 20 years now, in fact, we piloted the program around 22 years ago. And the bottom line is what we wanted to do was take this beautiful New Thought belief system and get it out into the community to help change lives for those who wanted to change. For example, consciousness is the issue. How do we transform the consciousness of people who are so dominated by the physical world, the economy and all those things here, the stresses and the job and the loss of jobs? How can we as a educational facility, an educational institution, I hate to use the word institution, how can we, provide people with the information on how they can enhance their lives? That's what it was all about. Our mission was the transformation, not dogma, not to convince people they should believe in something.
Right.
So what Emerson's about is how do you believe in yourself? Are you a fully 100% equipped individual who can really take a look at this lifespan that we have in the physical, and how can we enhance that? How can we make it better for our families, for our own community, and for ourselves? And that's what Emerson's all about, and it's kind of catchy.
Last time when we spoke, you were telling me that it was an idea that came to you. You spoke to your wife Stella about it, and at your home, and it kind of grew out from there, and then you ended up associating with Anton, or Anton began associating with you, and now that's a permanent relationship for New Thought people that are in the Anton organization that want to become a New Thought religious science minister. You also have various other programs. You've got an animal ministry program for people dealing with vets. You've got the Churches Without Walls. I want to talk about both of those. But for right now, someone that is a minister of an Anton Center, and they decide that this New Thought, the science of mind philosophy has touched them, and they want to learn more. So they go to their center and they get they do the necessary paperwork, and they come to Emerson. You have criteria for people coming into the program, just like every other institution, organizational, that teaches. So, they have to meet standards also. It's tell me.
Well, basically, this idea came. Stella and I are both professional educators. I was with the educational system for over 30 years, and Stella over 37 years. So basically, I was getting close to retirement, after 30 years, it's time to retire and do something else. So, but New Thought education was part of my life since the 70s, 1970, when I first walked into my first church and started taking classes. So you take a belief system, and I don't like to even use the word belief system. It's a philosophy of living. So you take a philosophy of living and apply it to your own life. I applied it to my life as principal, teacher, superintendent of schools, to the point where you look back on that, back to the 1970, and say, my gosh, it transformed my life. I can think back, and people may disagree with me, as a superintendent, I don't remember one major issue that we didn't deal with very successfully. And it's that love energy that we preach here in this. But what I love about New Thought is Stella said, we're getting close to retirement. Why don't we create a school that will get this belief system out there, this philosophy of living, I'd rather use that, out there and show people what's there. And it doesn't matter what their belief system is, because beliefs change, but it's an idea that really works. And so that's where it comes from. So if somebody comes to us as school people, you have to have standards and criteria.
Right.
If you don't, you're not going to do it. So we have standards and criteria. So it's not a mail order type, hey, I'll send my $50 in and I'm going to end up with being a minister of a church. No way, we're not that. And to become a minister under the Theological Institute, you have certain criteria. We have over 500 hours of service and classroom. I mean, that's a lot of time. We require 200 hours of just practical in-house internships. So, and there's oral and written examinations. So, it's not an easy road to hoe. But what we're excited about is that we've got a philosophy of living that will change lives if they want it, if you don't. And what we say is, hey, we don't have to be under the domain of the economy and our jobs and all this. There's something more about us.
That's right.
And what's that more about us? Well, we get into the spirituality that we are visitors on planet Earth. I always like to say that because as a minister, I've sat with people who are on their last few hours of living. They look back on it and they don't say, oh, gosh, I wish I'd made more money. No, they look in the eye and they're in between worlds and they say, I hope I made a difference in lives.
There you go.
And one thing we teach, you can't take one antique treasure with you when you leave the planet. What do you take with you? You can't take one penny. I could be a billionaire, and I'll say it's an equalizer, the moment of truth. The moment we say, we're done with the physical environment. That's the moment of truth where it's an equalizer.
Yep.
The billionaire, the person who's homeless on the streets and all those, it's the equalizer. At that moment in truth, we are a spiritual being who had a human experience, whether it's being on the street or being a billionaire or being the president of the United States or whoever we are, or an assembly person or whatever it is.
Right.
The equalizer is, who are you really? I'm a life form of something pretty special.
Right. I think John Lennon said it best, and this is something that it's a phrase that I like to use. Actually, it was Paul McCartney that wrote it. The love you take is equal to the love you make. And I believe that's what you take out with you.
Yeah. And my philosophy is I am a visitor here to experience a new form of life, which is the physical. Because I believe in the eternality of the soul, and I believe in that. And so my thought is, I'm here for a short period of time, and my duty assignment is to figure out how to live in a physical body.
That's right.
How to adjust to a limited world. And my duty assignment here is to figure out what my physical talents are and disseminate them throughout and doing something better for the whole. That's what I'm here for. Yeah. I'm here to be Angelo, supposedly, and to find out what my talents are and to promulgate those talents. And so that's what Stella and I do. We try to figure out what it is we're supposed to be doing
You live Angelo to the maximum of Angelo's.
And it's functioning 100%
Yeah.
of who we are. And that's pretty hard, because if you allow the distractions of the physical world to get you down, you forget your own identity, that, heck, I'm an eternal spiritual being. I was made in the image and likeness. Now, depending on your belief system, you can say God. I was made in the image and likeness of the source of all there is.
That's right.
And if that's true, I'm part of the CEO of the universe itself, for goodness sakes.
You bet.
So why should I allow the economy or some political stuff to dictate how I feel about myself? I'm pretty special, and we need to know that.
That's right. You are. You are very special, and that's one of the things that's one of the foundational understandings within this philosophy. You are enough. And as I was sharing with you earlier before we got on camera this morning, we have a young girl up in our local community that has run into some problems. And, and I think I wanted to talk to you a little bit about young adults, young people, bringing them into this understanding that they are enough. And what you teach, what Emerson brings to the world, what New Thought, science of mind, religious science brings to the world, this consciousness that they are enough. If we can get people, young people, to understand that at the level that they understand, that if they turn on the TV, they're going to have to watch commercials from Kentucky Fried Chicken or something, then it becomes part of their life. They can begin to embody it. And it doesn't make any difference what their personal spiritual beliefs are. They can still go to wherever it is. My personal belief is once they get hooked in the idea that they are that divine spiritual being, created in the likeness and the image, that they are enough as they are, that they will, I believe there's an urge that is within each and every one of us to express its spiritual self, and I think that'll come out.
I think with youngsters, you can't tell them what you think is right and expect them to follow it.
Right.
They have their own life, and these youngsters, they need their own space and all that. And what we can do is provide them the encouragement. There's a story of this little girl was sleepless at night, and the dad comes in and says, "What's the matter, honey?" She says, "I'm so scared. I've got a test tomorrow, and I'm just worried about it." And the dad said, "Forget about it all. Let's go out and see a movie. Let's not worry about it." She said, "Because you'll do really fine." And she would convince herself, "Yeah, I'll be fine." And I think what we need to do is show the children, the youth, that here's a philosophy of living that will enhance your life. Give it a shot. I counsel with a lot of youngsters sometimes, and where the parents will bring their kids in and want to talk. And a lot of them are, they don't believe anything that their mom says necessarily. But what I say, go on a 7-day diet. Okay, so you're worried about such and such teacher. This teacher doesn't appear to you that can be very good, or he doesn't even like you maybe. Let's try something different. It's worth a try, isn't it? And they'll say, why don't we do this? The most strongest energy we have, the most healing energy that's in the world itself, in the universe, is love. So why don't you do this? You go in, you rather than look in the room and say, "God, I don't want to be here." It's all conscious, what we believe and what we think at the moment. Why not just spread this love energy throughout the room? Pile heaps of love on the teacher. And it's not words.
No.
How you feel. Let's change that feeling a little bit, and let's try it out. And let's try it for 7 days. Are you wanting to do it? This is a homework time. She says, "Yeah, okay." I want you to then think about all the negative stuff during the next 7 days. Write down when you feel negative about something. Write it down. Let's see how you deal with it. And by gosh, you can say almost 100%. They'll come back and say, "Wow, this stuff works."
That's right.
See? They're not going to come to church on Sunday necessarily. I find that people are busy in their lives, and the four walls of a church may not be the main thing. So we need to figure out how to reach those kids. But I think it's got to be by example. We need to walk it and show it.
That's right.
And there's a lot of pain out there in the youngsters, and there's a lot of meth, a lot of drug situations.
A lot of drugs. Bullying has become an issue that when I was a kid, we had our bullies, but not like it is today.
What's so powerful about this belief system crosses all, it's immersed in all belief systems.
Right.
Because I don't care whether you're a fundamental Christian or whatever, Catholic or whatever it is, that we believe that we're in the image and likeness of God. So the bottom line is we're fully contained. We're 100% of that beingness. So therefore, if we can get across to the people, hey, listen, you're fully contained. You can handle any situation in your life, and I think it's our job as educators to show them what that means. And it's by example. I'm sorry to...
No, that's good stuff. But I'm looking at the clock. It looks like it's about time we're going to hit our first break, so we'll be back on the other side, so to speak.
I'm the owner and CEO of Central Valley Talk. We produce live programs that broadcast 24 hours per day on the internet website, centralvalleytalk.com. If you like local talk radio, you'll love centralvalleytalk.com. You can watch our local programming on your computer or on your iPhone.
Fat Man's Alley, Hungry Howie's, and Scoops Ice Cream. Tower Health Food, Samba Steakhouse, Mike Briggs Properties. There's Tower Market, Farmers Market too, Kuka's and Landmark, Mr. Sushi for you. Chicken Pie Shop, Fulton's Pulley, Palomino's, Spinner's Records, Tower Bike Shop, Irene's To Go, Bobby Sal's Restaurant, The Perfect Blend and Million Elephant, H&R Block, Starbucks Coffee, PM on Teas, Roger Rocca's Dinner Theater, The Second Space, Tower Tattoos, Lottie and the Me and Ed's is the place, International Furniture, The Review Cafe, Teasers Realty Market, Love Oak knows the way, Typhoon Restaurant, The Game Preserve, and B of A, Sequoia Brewing, Russo Restaurant, Tower Clocks Today. Come to the tower, there's so much fun for everyone. Every morning, every evening, ain't we got fun?
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, welcome back to the second segment of New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center located in beautiful downtown Madera. And my guest today is Angie Pizelo, my friend, my mentor, the founder of the Emerson Theological Institute. I mean, I can go on and on. He blushes. But this is good. And so we were talking about kids. And you were, sharing about, reaching out to them and stuff. And through the Emerson Institute, you have instituted something called the Church Without Walls. And it's not just kids, but it covers a broad area. It covers many different things. And as an outreach program, I think this is just a dynamite thing. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we call it the Emerson New Thought Center. It's actually a 501c3 entity. And the idea was, when we teach this philosophy of living, and we want to get the word out, just what it's like. We're not proselytizing a particular religion. That's not what we're about. Right. We're about saying, okay, we have the dynamics of being 100% of whoever we are, and we've got all the resources necessary to have a joy-filled life. Because if we're really visitors on planet Earth as spiritual beings occupying bodies, then we're here to enjoy our vacation, for goodness sakes.
That's right.
And so the bottom line is what we wanted to do was create an entity that could not only talk church, four walls of a building, but let's get out there and get the belief system out there. We have a lot of people graduating as ministers or practitioners, in some cases degrees, and we want to get that word, spread that word out. As I said, the transformation of human consciousness means that people come to a realization of how powerful they are when they tap into that. So what we did, we created this, Bob Hand and I and Stella. Bob Hand's our vice president, and he's awesome. created what we call the Church Without Walls, the Emerson New Thought Center. And it's really fast growing because it's people who aren't necessarily wanting pulpit. They don't really want to start a church. But what they're so enthused about, this belief system, that they want to get the word out there somehow. So we're dealing with all kinds of faith groups, not just one faith group. And we're also, we've got over 50 ministries now out there. I call them ministries because there are people who want to deal with hospice. Their goal, and we just took on another one in Sedona, a lady who spent years, she's a certified hospice and chaplain. And she said, I want to be part of the Church Without Walls. And this is my goal, is to work with people who need that help at the tail end of their lives. And so she spent a great deal of her life doing that. So she's in Newton Center. We have people working in prison ministries. We have others who have started halfway houses for those folks who are abused. We are in Australia. We've got people throughout the United States doing this work, the service to humanity work.
You're in London, England. You have a center.
Yeah, we have a Emerson Institute has a Theological Institute has a center now in London.
Yeah.
And in fact, just recently, I've been talking to the man in charge of that, and he's got students now coming in. He's got one student who just completed the practitioner work, who lives in Singapore.
Oh my God.
So he contacted me and says, Angelo, what about having an Emerson International? And I said, well, we already have, because we've got you there.
Right.
So we are, and we have Australia. He said, but I'd like to talk to you about maybe expanding that into the Middle East, into Asia, and of course Europe. And I said, well, let's sit down and do it. And so we were in the process of planning that.
And that's great, because we have the ability here, because this is on the internet, to track where our audience comes from. And the last time I got a sheet of statistics, we had viewers for our show here, this show, in the Middle East, and in Asia, and in Europe, in Canada. So this is, you're taking this out. There's an audience waiting for you to get there.
And the bottom line is this: we are not talking proselytizing a particular system of religion.
Right.
That's not what we're about. What we're about is showing people how tremendous, beautiful, and magnificent they are, unlocking that magnificence. In other words, letting people find out for themselves that they're 100% of something pretty special, and how can they tap into that and enhance their lives, the lives of their family, and the lives of their community. That's what we're all about. And so it's growing rapidly, and we're happy about that. We call it the Church Without Walls, but it's really hardly, I don't know if it could be considered even a church necessarily, because it's not the four walls of a building. However, in our own center, we do have the base church. We do meet in Oakhurst as a church every Sunday, and we have Sunday service and all that, but it's our outreach to the world. It's really
Actually,
cool.
what you have on Sunday is a Sunday celebration.
It is.
I have attended many of them up there. It's great music, good people, good fellowship, and you've got beside yourself, you have other ministers that present the weekly lesson, and there's a wide diversity that center provides.
What's so
for people.
exciting about our philosophy of living is to see the impact it can have on lives. When people come to you, there's in our area here in Fresno, 15% unemployment.
Yeah.
And there's people who are in their late 50s who have no means of income, for goodness sakes. And what they're doing, they're focusing on the negative stuff. And what this belief system does, this philosophy of living, saying if we focus on something, our attention becomes our intention, becomes a manifestation.
That's
so
right.
what we teach is, hey, listen, there's a better way maybe. Why don't you give it a try? So rather than focusing on the down, and I've been there. I've gone to, when I got out of the Marine Corps years ago, my buddy and I, we didn't have any money, so we went to this place that served food to the needy, and we sat there, and they gave us our bowl of soup and a Bible, for goodness sakes. Well, we were just out of the Marine Corps. We weren't too Bible oriented at that point, and so, but that was a requirement. So we had to listen to this guy speak the Bible. So I've been there. I've been in those shoes, and I know what it feels like not to have food. So I think what we offer to the general population is, hey, there might be a better way. Give it a shot.
That's
Try
right.
it. And I'm available 24/7. I get calls from all over the United States, and I love it because I live this. My son said years ago, I just love what I'm doing. And the bottom line is, call. Give me a jingle, and we'll talk over the phone, and we'll just try something. I call it the 7-day mental diet. That we take 7 days and trying something different.
Right.
And so getting people out of their stupor, getting people out of the terrible conscience that they're in, and I can see that, you know.
Yeah.
And because when you're in the swamp and they're being circled by alligators, you don't think too much spirituality, and so you need to hang on and listen to someone else. You need to look for that lifeline.
That's
The
right.
lifeline is our New Thought belief system. That's the lifeline.
That is it.
And if we can sell people on that idea, we don't need to sell them. We need to present them with the idea.
Put it out there,
Put it out
and you're
there.
right. You know, telling people to try it. Put it into. These are principles, tools. You put it into practice in your life, and you test it out, and then you come back and tell me, did it work for you? And people will come back and they say, whoa, I can't believe this. So this Church Without Walls, we have people all over the world essentially now that can contact you, and they can start their own personal journey. You know, should they feel called? Should they feel a desire? And also just people can come to Emerson. Okay, we talked about you have degree programs, and you have programs for practitioners and ministerial programs, but you also provide education for people that are just looking to find out about New Thought, to learn.
I think primarily that's what we do. When I first got into the belief system in 1970, actually, I was for personal growth. I mean, that's what I didn't have any intention whatsoever to do what I'm doing now, that's for sure. But it was for personal growth. How do I enhance my life? And so I walked into that first church in 1970, and I was sold on it immediately. And what the person was not talking about dogma or proselytization. He was saying, you are, and I'll never forget this, that you are in the image and likeness, the likeness of something pretty special.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about. We're to show you how you can bring that out in your life. And so the idea was personal growth. So, and then later on, I was using this as I was a superintendent of a little school district up north, and it was so powerful. When I bring that love energy into the situation, my gosh, the problems just seem to fade away.
Yeah.
And so I thought, my gosh, this is working. This stuff works. And just following the ideas. And so that's when I decided, hey, maybe I should get a license to be a minister.
Yeah.
So but personal growth is that's the tag right there.
Well, that's how you hooked me. You know, he's responsible for me being where I'm at.
Oh, gosh.
I was studying with you, and we were sitting there at that table one day, and you looked at me and you said, so, you want to be a minister? Or when are you going to be a minister? I don't remember which one. And I'd never thought of it at the time. And, well, look where we're at today. And I thank you every day for that.
It's almost, in a way, you look at the politics. We're not getting into politics, but are you better off now than you were then? Well, I always say, let's give it a shot. Can you do better in your own personal life?
Yeah.
You are right now, struggling a lot. What can you do to change that? So what I look back on my 4 years of ministry, and I look back and I say, yeah, I'm a heck of a lot better off because I'm following some specific rules here that really seem to
40 years.
42 years. I'll be in my 43rd year.
My goodness.
So I look young, I know, but
Yeah, you do. It's that New Thought philosophy. Not only does it empower you to live a better life, but a younger life at an older age. And actually, that is true on many levels, to live a younger life at an older age, because you live that consciousness, and you know that there is a source of energy and vitality and goodness. When you
there's
exercise.
tons of research. I mean,
Yeah.
there's thousands of research having to do with the elderly.
Yeah.
And when they change their consciousness, where they get off their wheelchair, or they get, not off their wheelchair, but off their rocking chair, And they start realizing, hey, wait a minute, I still have a life to live, and it can be pretty powerful, and it could be joy-filled. You're on vacation here as a spiritual being, therefore enjoy it.
That's right.
You don't say, I'm going to Hawaii and I'm going to have a miserable time. When we wake up in the morning with dread on our minds, and we're worrying about, and there are things like unemployment and stuff like that, and you wake up with that idea of the dread, what you focus on becomes an intention, becomes a manifestation. Whether you like it or not, there's enough research that says if you think about something long enough with emotion and feeling, it will appear in your life.
What you think about comes about.
That's right. So basically what we're all about is how do we change that, transform that consciousness where I'm not into thinking about all these negative stuff. That's what it's all about. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
My comment is give it a shot. I mean, try it and see if it works, and give me a call. I'll be glad to. And I'm not charging. So you just call me.
There you go.
I
like that. We got about a minute left before we go to commercial break. But I wanted real quick. You have an animal chaplaincy through the Emerson Institute.
Yeah, about 5 years ago or 6 years ago, a lady who's been in that industry in the Humane Society industry for over 30 years came to me and said, she knew about Emerson Theological Institute. She says, would you give it a try? All sentient beings are life forms of God. All sentient beings, not only people, but dogs. They're life forms of this divine energy we call God. Yeah. She says, would you consider reaching out to all sentient beings, not just humans? And I thought about it, and I love animals. I'm an animal lover. Stella will tell you that.
Yes,
so I said, what do you have in mind? I said, present a plan to me. And she presented a plan, and we created the Animal Chaplaincy Program. It's to help people who lose their pets, to give them a chance to go through grief. So it's grief chaplaincy is what it really is. But we also believe in this energy of the divine. So as a practitioner of religious science, we teach that there's some value in energy work, and so and prayer and love treatment. So we kept our dog AH alive for 18 years. It was a Australian dingo. We've never been a recipient of any large things as far as what do they call it when people leave you money?
Bequeathed.
But we did get AH, and he was a beautiful Australian digger who loved us, and we kept praying for him and sending him love energy and all, and he stayed alive until he was about 18. Finally came to the point where we needed to release him and let him go on to his next life. So.
And that's important to get to that point. And animal chaplaincy helps people with that too.
It helps people. I think we were mentioned when we first started in an Animal Fancy magazine that really got us there, and a lot of people have been calling us and all. So it's not for everybody, but for those people who love animals, it's really a super way to take care of things. So
great. Okay, well, we're off to our second commercial break, and we'll see you when we get back.
I cannot believe how expensive funerals are today. Nancy said she spent more than $12,000 on John's service. Now, when Mom took ill, we went to Sterling & Smith and prearranged her funeral for less than half of what Nancy spent. Sterling & Smith has a beautiful facility, professional staff, and packages that start below $3,000. It was more than a funeral. It was truly a celebration of life.
At Sterling & Smith, we believe that a high-quality service should be affordable to everyone. Let us help you plan for the inevitable. Call us today, because you just don't know about tomorrow.
Hey guys, are you watching CentralValleyTalk.com? Are you under 30 or under 30 at heart? Because if you are, you should be watching my show, Basically Branded, 10:30 p.m. Monday and Wednesday nights. Mark your calendars, you guys, because it's chaos here on Monday and Wednesday nights. We have animals, reptiles, cheetahs, actors, singers. It's chaos. And you guys need to be watching, because it might sound like I'm describing Barnum and Bailey's circus, but I'm actually describing my web show, Basically Brandon, Monday and Wednesday nights, 10:30 p.m.
You can advertise your business, your product, or your event on Central Valley Talk, the Valley's only internet television station. Several of our programs are also picked up on Dish and cable networks. For the best advertising dollar, call Central Valley Talk at 579-1360.
get along, listen to the guitar play.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, welcome back once again. This is New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Madera Spiritual Awareness Center, and I'm glad to have you back here today. My guest is the Reverend Angelo Pizelo. Angie, this has been a good show.
Has it?
It has
Really?
been. This is good stuff. But this is the Thanksgiving season, and we celebrate it as a season because we have one day out of the year. But in New Thought, we look at Thanksgiving and gratitude as a 365 season. You know, tell us about your concept of Thanksgiving and
Thanksgiving and gratitude. Gratitude actually is the connection to the power that we are in spirit. I mean, that is the actual connection to it. And the Master Jesus, during his lifetime, you probably all know about the leper. These 10 lepers came to him, and he healed them. But all 10 left, but one came back and said thank you and showed gratitude. And Jesus' statement, which shows beyond a doubt what the power of gratitude is, he said that the 9 were healed, all 10 were healed, but the one who came back was made whole.
That's right.
What gratitude is, and we're 100%, spiritually we're 100% magnificent creatures, life forms of a divine energy we call God. Gratitude makes Angelo whole. What that means is when I say thank you, and we don't want to get into vibration, it's a high vibrator. It's a very vibratory universe, and you can check your quantum physics and all that. The bottom line is we do have a connection, and it's a vibratory. Those of you, and we call it energy if you want to deal with the secular world. If you know when you walk into a place, whether you like it or not, you have this feeling.
Yeah.
It's a feeling and the vibration. Gratitude is that tremendous vibration of sending me more and sending me yes.
Yes.
It's a yes to my life experience. And we can show that people who are grateful, and there's a lot of research on that gratitude actually makes us complete.
That's right.
And so when I'm into that auspice of gratitude, I'm thanking the universe for all that I have. I'm showing my pleasure on yes to my life and send me more. There's a little research on this. There's one little study. This store owner was going downhill fast. And the bottom line was he really had a negative attitude towards his competition. So this New Thought minister was eating there one day, and he mentioned to the minister, he said, I'm not doing very well.
Yeah.
And the minister asked, what's it all about? And he said he was negative towards all these people. And he said, why don't you try something? There it is, the 7-day mental diet. Try something just a little while. Send gratitude to your competition. Thank your competition for being there, because it's going to draw other people into your own life, and be grateful. Well, he did, and it changed his whole life. So also the idea of gratitude has to do with another story where the person who had this really wonderful corn crop, but the neighbors around him weren't doing so well.
Right.
And what did he do? He started giving his secrets to the neighbors themselves. And it was a gratefulness for what he had, spreading it out into the community, and it enhanced his own life.
That's
So
right.
gratitude, if we're feeling sorry for ourselves, I think there's a lot to be grateful for. We need to be grateful for the very breath that we have. I mean, if you look around, there's a story of an old Zen master got his awakening one day. He was at a market, and this is in the 18th century. He was at a market, and he overheard this person saying to the butcher, "Give me some of the good stuff." And the butcher said, "It's all good stuff." And he said that was his awakening, his satori.
Yeah.
He finally had an awakening. It's all good stuff. So what we need to realize is it's all good stuff. What does that mean? If you just look around, we've got the air that we breathe, we've got the sun out there, and we just take it for granted.
Yeah.
If it weren't there, we would not be here. And we can turn on the tap and we can drink our water. There are people on the universe who cannot even do that. They don't have clean water. So gratefulness is really important. That which we're grateful for expands in our life. Try it. I mean,
most people, or a lot of people, see gratitude as it is a reaction. I give you gratitude for whatever you've done for me. We give thanks. You do something for me and I say thank you. My thanks is a reaction for your, whatever action that you took. But gratitude really is a causative. It's not a reactionary thing. It's a causative thing. And you're right, when we get this consciousness of gratitude, when we're so grateful, and in our lives, we can all find things to complain about. And if we just set those aside and we start to tick off, I have air to breathe. I have clean water. I have a roof over my head. And I'm thankful, and I bless each and every one of these things. It's no longer reaction. It's not just causative. It is creative, and it creates that in our lives. And as we come to, that's one of the things about that we take a day as a country to give thanks. But as a philosophy, we teach people to give thanks every moment.
That's right. Yeah. And I like to wake up in the morning, and I do this every morning. I have for years, that I am grateful for this day and all the love and abundance that comes my way. And I do it with feeling. And then my days are generally really pretty good, actually. Yeah. The idea is, as Jesus said, that the person who came back and said thank you, that showed gratitude, was made whole. Gratitude makes us whole, and it connects us to what we call the dimension of all possibilities. We may think, oh, this is impossible. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? No, when you're into gratitude, you're connected to this mysterious dimension of all possibilities, and we could spend 3 hours talking about that. The idea is that generally 90% of our power, 90% of who we are, this magnificent spiritual being that we are, is not only unused and untapped, but undiscovered, for goodness sakes. And so this belief system of this philosophy of living shows you how to reach that beyond the 90% level. Gratitude gets you there. Gratitude is the equalizer. When we're grateful for the air we breathe, we're grateful for our family, we're grateful for this community, we're even grateful for the people who are in government. We're grateful for them. I mean that's a stretch, but we can do that. But we're grateful. That's right. We're grateful for this life. I sit down with people who only have 10 minutes left to live.
That's right.
What do they say? I hope I made a difference. I hope I created some love energy for people. But those of us who realize that gratefulness is the connection to all possibilities. So if we're in the doldrums, if we're down and out, be grateful for what you already have, and it will be expanded in your life. Follow the teachings of the great master, because he knew what he was saying.
You think?
But it does make us whole.
Yes, it does.
It makes us whole. It makes us complete.
That's right.
And it's as simple as that. It doesn't cost anything either.
No, it doesn't cost anything other than a commitment of consciousness.
That's all it is.
And when we get it in consciousness, and we'll get it in our expression that we call our life. And this is good. This is the stuff that, when we opened the show, I was talking about young people. We see young people today so often take things for granted. They've got their computers, and they've got their games, and they got this, that, the other. And this is one area when you can reach and you can touch that heart of that younger person, and they begin to experience this consciousness of gratitude. You can watch incredible things happen in their lives, and it does in us older folks too. We're not old, just older.
We're seasoned.
We're seasoned. That's right. But it is such a powerful tool. And I know this Sunday at the Positive Living Center, you're going to be experiencing, or next Sunday, the consciousness of Thanksgiving, we have our Thanksgiving potluck. You know, we'll be celebrating Thanksgiving with our spiritual family, and I feel it's just so important. But again, we experience and we celebrate Thanksgiving every moment of every day, and that is that's great stuff. So anyway, we're at our next break time. We're going to be cutting out here in just a second, and we'll see you for our closing segment.
I cannot believe how expensive funerals are today. Nancy said she spent more than $12,000 on John's service. Now, when Mom took ill, we went to Sterling & Smith and prearranged her funeral for less than half of what Nancy spent. Sterling & Smith has a beautiful facility, professional staff, and packages that start below $3,000. It was more than a funeral. It was truly a celebration of life.
At Sterling & Smith, we believe that a high-quality service should be affordable to everyone. Let us help you plan for the inevitable. Call us today, because you just don't know about tomorrow.
Hey guys, are you watching CentralValleyTalk.com? Are you under 30 or under 30 at heart? Because if you are, you should be watching my show, Basically Branded, 10:30 p.m. Monday and Wednesday nights. Mark your calendars, you guys, because it's chaos here on Monday and Wednesday nights. We have animals, reptiles, cheetahs, actors, singers. It's chaos. And you guys need to be watching, because it might sound like I'm describing Barnum and Bailey's Circus, but I'm actually describing my web show, Basically Brandon, Monday and Wednesday nights, 10:30 p.m.
You can advertise your business, your product, or your event on Central Valley Talk, the Valley's only internet television station. Several of our programs are also picked up on Dish and cable networks. For the best advertising dollar, call Central Valley Talk at 579-1360.
Proper voice, Cecil's choice, juggling it on CentralValleyTalk.com. We can all get along, listen to the guitar play.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Well, once again, welcome back. This is our fourth and final segment of New Thought Talk. I am the Reverend Steve Walling from the Spiritual Awareness Center, located in beautiful downtown Madera. And my guest today is Reverend Dr. Angelo, Angie Pizelo, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what I want to do this last segment, because we've been talking about and highlighting the Emerson Institute, you are working in the creative process of raising a building up. You've got the foundation, you've got all the necessary substructure in, and so you're looking now to complete this project of building this building. So I want you to just tell people your phone number's up there. They can contact
Well, basically,
you.
what we're doing is looking for a permanent home.
Yeah.
We're in a storefront, and we have been for in various forms. For the last, we've moved 4 times, and so the idea was, let's get a permanent home. So we've been working on that. We've got a 4-acre parcel that we're working on, and we're at that point where all the infrastructure is done. We just need now the funding to build the building. But in our belief system, we say don't be attached to the outcome, because once you're attached to the outcome, you don't really know if that outcome is what you were, the direction you want to really go anyway. So you need to be open to what we call open to that dimension of all possibilities. So we're not attached to it. We do, it's there, and we are looking and seeking funds to complete the building. But it's kind of exciting just to know that there's a lot of possibilities out there.
There is a lot, and for being the educational home for the Anton organization, I want to encourage our Anton member audiences to help support this, so that we can see this home come to fruition. I'm excited about it. I've been to the site. I've seen the work that's been done, and it's going to be awesome. And it is awesome already in my mind, and I know it is in yours. We'll see it awesome in the creative mind. So, and we'll see that. So I want to encourage you. Angie's email address is on the lower banner there. His phone number, he mentioned earlier in the show that you can call him, not just about the Emerson Institute, but if you got something going on in your mind, your life, or your consciousness, and you want to question the next big guy, he's the next big guy to question, and he's available. Angie, I want to thank you so much for today. This has been an incredible
It's been my
joy.
pleasure.
Yeah, we'll get together in about 6 months. We're going to do it again, and we'll just move on. So I've got a few minutes left. I'm going to take and close out the show. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Angie is he's been, like I say, a very close and dear personal friend of mine for many years. He provides through his efforts and his energies just a wonderful service to the whole New Thought community, and I know he's highly thought of. So take a moment and shoot him a check, and shoot him a phone call. Tell him what you think about him, as long as it's good stuff. But anyway, we're closing up our show for today. If you are at some place where you have a center that you can get to, then obviously you have availability of the Emerson Institute or what other educational organization that center may be involved with. But you might be out there somewhere where you don't have a center, but you want to learn, you want to, or maybe even find out if there is a center. So I'm going to give you a couple of email addresses or web page links that you can go to one, find books from early New Thought philosophers and teachers, and two, to find the center nearest you. And so to find the center nearest you, the first link that I want to give you is www.findacenter.org. It's down there on the lower portion of the banner. And if you go to newthoughtlibrary.com, which is on the upper portion of that banner, at that location you'll find a lot of early New Thought writers. You'll find books from the Fillmores. You'll find books from Ernest Holmes, his brother Fenwick Holmes. You'll find books from the Dressers on Phineas Quimby. There's stuff from Emma Curtis Hopkins. These are names that people that are familiar with New Thought would understand, but if you don't know, if you're not familiar with New Thought, these are names of people that will provide you with some of the foundational understanding that our New Thought philosophy embodies. So I want to encourage you to go there because it is available, it's free, it's online, and if you're watching the show, you do have access to a computer, so take advantage of it. And at Find a Center, if you click on the world map, your part of the world, it will take you there. And basically what they've done at the organization that puts together this link, they've tried to incorporate every New Thought center on the face of the earth that they can find, and so you'll find whatever is closest to you. And maybe it's within distance that you can drive to, but it might be a little bit further, but you can find the one closest to you. This is a powerful teaching and practicing philosophy. You heard Dr. Pizelo talk about it today, changing lives. This 7-day change of consciousness diet that he talks about is powerful stuff. These are tools that you can use to create just so many changes in your life. And what he was talking about when it comes to gratitude is it is life-changing. What you think about comes about. And if you're thinking about all your woes and your problems and the lacks, the limitations, and the dis-ease in your life, it's time to put that stuff aside and find the things to be grateful for. That's powerful stuff. Now, the last little bit I want to touch on business-wise is you can help support this program by going to, there is a link, if you're watching the program live today, there's a link right on the webpage that you can make a donation to support the program, or you can go to maderasac.com. That is my webpage for the center that I'm out of, and we have a donation page there where you can make a donation. But if you're going to donate to support the program, I want to encourage you to make sure that you make a notation on that donation so that we can credit accordingly. And while you're there, you can check it around the webpage. We have an audio archive. If you found what we've been talking about today as something of interest, you want to hear a little more about it, you can go to the audio archive, and we have most of our lessons from 2012 up there for you to listen to. Myself and Reverend Dr. Joanna Fox has some of her lessons up there, and you can listen to those. Those are things that you can take to also help incorporate and to utilize in your life. I think we've pretty much run out of time today, so at this point I'm going to wrap things up. I want to say to you, as I do each week when I check out, may the light of God surround you, may the love of God enfold you, may the power of God protect you, and the presence of God watch over you, because I do truly believe that wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Thank you very much, and have a blessed, great week.
CentralValleyTalk.com